show is not suitable for children, sensitive men, or insecure women. Can you trust somebody that doesn't take care of their kids?
I don't trust no man on earth that does not take care of their children.
What's the biggest red flag in a relationship?
Low effort and not being honest.
Most of the time, you would think that a bad financial mistake would be spending money on clothes or vacation or like spending money on women. My worst financial mistake was buying a home.
Like a king, give me my crown.
Game time. Game time. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We are back. Or is this AI?
Facts. They said your camera's too clear. You playing around with special effects.
Shout out to Sam Altman, OpenAI.
Yes, sir. You never know.
Soon come. Robert Smith. Can you text Robert?
Please.
Get us some vintage media space.
It's needed. It's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we got a lot to talk about. This is gonna be a good one. There's a lot going on in the world right now. We got two guests joining us simultaneously.
I love
Shout out to Punch, shout out to Ray Daniels, you know. Fun conversation whenever those guys are around.
Yeah, and two great men too. Super passionate, but two great men.
Good dudes, man. Man, I'm back from China, and I'm back on my support Black business kick. This T-shirt comes courtesy of Ocean Gallery.
Okay,
their Instagram is Oceans with the S at the end. Gallery, CLO. Oceans Gallery, CLO. CLO. Man, they gave me some of the best merch that I've received so far as the merch package. They sent me like 20 different pieces. This is just the one T-shirt because it's so hot outside, but they sent me cargo pants, shorts.
Oh, that's okay on your story. Yeah.
The hat they sent me.
You did a great job.
They went crazy, man. Shout out to them. Like they got some heat. Check out their Instagram page. I like these type of brands that, no disrespect to anybody, but a lot of people make hoodies and T-shirts. But when you put a little bit more thought into it, like I said, they got the cargo, they got the button-up shirts, they got
collection,
short set. They got some fire, man. So shout out to them, and of course Godspeed for the Locks hat. That's family. So support Black business. That's important.
Indeed.
So
we all we got, man. So shout out to them. And next week I'm gonna open my PO box up again. I shut the PO box down for a little bit because I had too much. Too much, man. Like too much clothes. But Simone. Quick idea.
So, you know what? No jokes aside, this is a business tip because I'm looking at the money that I'm spending on clothes, and I'm like, I'm spending a lot of money on clothes. I have a platform. Part of the platform is the fashion thing. I've been doing the fashion thing for a couple of years now, as far as on Instagram. So I'm like, it's a win-win how I look at it. I'm like, you know what? I know that there's a lot of designers out there that could use some exposure.
For sure.
And they got good product. And I don't want to just keep spending a bunch of money on clothes.
For what? So somebody can be like, oh, it's fire. Then you can't wear it again. Stupid. Simone, open up that P.O. box.
That's a fact. And there's even more women designers than there are for men.
For sure.
She would have no problem getting clothes. Like if I'm a support anybody, I might as well just support the bros. And like I said, a lot of them have really good product. Like B Simone, man, we're gonna talk about it later, but that might be something that you can actually
need to do.
There's opportunities in every crisis, because I'm not even taking any commission off of this, but maybe she can actually work out some partnership brands where she's actually getting some commission.
How about the first three you just promote and give back to the community? Because I had sympathy to then people like, oh, she plagiarized the first book and you cut off the two friends. I'm like, so the first two or three, just do it off the love to give back to the community. Then after that, you can do the 15% royalty in perpetuity. You have no leverage right now.
That's a fact, man. Y'all gonna wear Fashion Over and all of that. Like, y'all might as well wear somebody that you actually come from the community. Why not?
And they'll support you for real.
That's a fact. So shout out to all of those Black designers and shout out to all the Black businesses. And on that theme, Investfest is the home of Black business entrepreneurship. And people that really want to get themselves together. We had extended our Ghana raffle. Shout out to the bros. They actually threw a real monkey wrench in the game. So, a lot of people are not familiar that, Ashanti, the singer.
Yeah.
So there's an Ashanti kingdom.
For sure.
And the thing with a lot of people don't know either is that a lot of those kingdoms still exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a king in Ghana right now, the Ashanti king. He has power. They have land. They have so much gold. Ghana was called the Gold Coast before. They had so much gold that it was just unbelievable when the British actually came, right? So, and to this day, they still got gold. Like Google pictures of Ghana king. You'll just see arm full of gold, 10 gold ropes around his neck. The gold is crazy. So, in Route 55, shout out to Alvin. That's an African travel company. So if you see us in Africa, 9 times out of 10, they taking care of all the stuff that we're doing in Africa. So they threw in, and this anybody just can't do this, but they're going to provide the exclusive trip to the Ashanti Kingdom for anybody that actually wins that raffle. So you got 1 week left. Anybody that buys the general admission tickets is entered. 2 people's going to get upgraded to VIP Platinum. 3 people get upgraded to VIP. Everybody gets access to MG the Mortgage Guy, and 1 person gets a trip to Ghana. And then with all the other stuff, you get to actually see some real royalty in real time. Everybody want to go to Buckingham Palace when they go to London. Why don't you see something that you actually come from?
Yep. And that's a hell of a giveaway. I thought you was going to cut it off last week. So
yeah, Monday. Yep. Monday's it. Though.
Monday. You got a few more days. Don't say they didn't do anything to look out.
That is a fact. So go to investfest.com. Ian, would you like to say anything?
I love y'all. If you want to get rich from the market, go to ianinvest.com. If you want to know where to get in, where to get out, what stocks to invest in, which ones to stay away from, which empires are merging, and which ones are falling off. Pfizer. Go to ianinvest.com. And if I've made you money, please put yes in chat. See you at InvestFest.
Yes, sir. Okay. So let's start this off. Okay, it's a lot to talk about.
It's a ton to talk about.
Let's start this off with some investment conversation. Troy, there's a clip that I sent, the last one. Can you play that one?
Me to be happy with a measly 12% on average return when I need to come up now. Look at these returns. If I was dumb and I invested in VTSAX, I get 12%. But look, if 10 years ago, I go all in on the real stuff that makes the world turn. All I do is I hold FANG plus NVIDIA, Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, and NVIDIA. I would have gone up 713%, 873%, 633%, 1,268%. JL, had I put my $3,000 into NVIDIA, I would have gone up 26,209% in 10 years. So your 12%. JL?
That's amazing. And if you had wings, you could fly. So what crystal ball did you have 10 years ago that told you that?
I just...
I don't have one? Yeah, obviously, if you knew that was going to happen, if I knew that Bitcoin was going to go from a penny a coin to $100,000, I would have sold everything and gone into Bitcoin. The thing is, you don't know that's going to happen. And there's a lot of stocks that looked every bit as promising as those that you put up 10 years ago that flamed out and went to nothing. You would have wound up broke. You don't know which horse is going to win. But I do know that VTSAX will reliably make me wealthy. And 12% a year compounded over time, 8% a year. Let's be much more conservative. Compounded over time is an extraordinarily powerful thing.
Okay.
Powerful conversation.
They both have interesting perspectives, and they're both, and neither one is wrong. What's your thoughts on this?
Do both. All that you don't have a crystal ball. This is the price you pay for not listening to me non-humbly. Rolling out article. Shout out to Elwin for bringing this up. 10 years ago, I mentioned NVIDIA and the companies to invest in at that time. Did I know it was going to go up 26,000%? No. Did I expect maybe 5,000 or 6,000? Possibly. They're both right. Like,
people love to say that you don't know because they often hide. Like the crystal ball is too valuable to even share with the public, even for certain prices. So I get that. But the answer is to do both: invest in a conservative thing, which are indexes, and put your money into the emerging technologies and companies that are going to do well. And he's right. 10 years ago, you would have thought Intel would have done well. Dead. Pfizer falling apart. There's a lot of companies in the tech space that are not doing as well. But the answer is always to do both. And to be very honest, listen to me. That's it. That's the whole. I was the AI before the algorithms and the open AI shit popped out. I was telling you guys which ones to invest in, which ones were going to fall apart way ahead of time. And it's not being talked about yet, but adding futures into that portfolio where you can get 3,000 to 5,000% in a year, I think is the ultimate blueprint. I mean, I think that'll get more popular over the next 4 or 5 years as well. But what do you think?
For sure. I think that, okay, from a perspective of, well, he said one key thing, the first guy, then he was like, if I invested in companies that's going to change the world or something like that, the most important company to the world. And like, even for me, like, you know, I always double check everything with AI. So like at the beginning of the year, I just go over my investment strategy. So I was like, okay, what companies, I do a whole thing. I'm like, okay, give me the top, what's the highest percentage, what companies have the highest percentage chance of increasing over the next 10 years? And I'm like, okay, now what companies have the highest risk within that? Which companies have the lowest risk in that?
And that's the most important question, to mitigate the risk for the companies that are doing bad in your portfolio and remove them out of the equation.
Yep. So it's like, okay, you know, it's like, okay, the obvious, the tech companies, right? The NVIDIA, the TSMs of the world, the Microsoft, and then I'll say, okay, well, given a little bit more, like how do you feel about Bitcoin? Like, you know, I just kind of spar with it, and so it's like for me, that's why I'm like, okay, I'm invested in the Bitcoin space. I can't put everything in it just off of a risk reward ratio where it's like, you know, shout out to Chris Johnson, he'll say put everything in it, and I respect that because that's worked so far. But I'm just saying, for me personally,
at these levels, it's tough to do that.
For me personally. So it's like, okay, I got the exposure to Bitcoin. I'm gonna have the exposure to NVIDIA because I do believe that artificial intelligence is only going to get bigger. They're currently the leader in this space. So if that theory pans out, then they're gonna survive it. TSM, they're gonna be good as well. Okay, you have to factor in geopolitical aspect when it comes to China. That's their Achilles heel. So maybe, you know, you don't put your whole everything in there, but just keep that in mind. But then you look, okay, you know, what's the safest bet? The safest bet is probably Microsoft. Then you start to look down the line and say, okay, well, where does gold come into play here? So you have your singular plays, and then you have your safety net with the index fund. And then for me, like, I like QQQ because I feel like that's technically not an index fund, it's an ETF. But
same thesis, but it gives you a little bit more growth on the upside.
Right. And if the theory holds correct, that technology will only advance even further and that the top tech companies will dominate the world, then even if you get one wrong on an individual side, QQQ is going to have all of them in there anyway.
Absolutely.
So you can't go wrong. And then it's like, okay, now you go from here individual to the ETF, and then you get the wider spectrum of the index fund. So, you know, everybody's got their own theory. It's like, you know, that's how I would play it, is like narrow, medium, wide. I look at it like lake, river, ocean. Right. And then the ocean is the index fund, the S&P 500, because it's like, you know, if all else fails, that's almost the entirety of the stock market. So you're going to be good with that. Right. So whether it's two tech, two index, ocean, river, was it river, lake, ocean? I'm
lake, river, ocean.
I'm coining this phrase, ladies and gentlemen. So I just came up with this. So if I see any influencer
You're gonna see it tonight.
Please, but no,
be like Cenote Pond.
But you got to do both. I think in 2025, you can't afford to just
since the beginning. You have to do both. The answer is never one. Okay, Rashad, should you do media and a concert style arena conference, or do one or another? It is both. All the hedges are dying, so the ultimate hedge ends up being doing a chimera, a combination of things. I didn't want to even have to get good immediately. We talked, and then Charlemagne and Joe, everybody even Sloss, he'll be like, okay, so you want to go back to running traditional ads, worrying about cost per click, cost per acquisition, or you can continue to build your fan base. Okay, cool, do both. Now, AI camera, all in the video. The answer is to do everything. It's not one or another. Michael Saylor had a traditional technology company and then went heavily into Bitcoin while still having a technology company. Apple did not invest into AI. Mistake. You know how much it pains me to openly criticize the company that I love the most publicly? Failing. The answer is to do both. Always.
Yeah. Yep. I think at
trade or invest, both.
At this point in time, you can't just only invest in index funds because you are going to miss tremendous opportunities from individual stocks.
Absolutely.
But also, you just got to be careful because you could even pick an individual stock and you have all the faith in it in the world and put all your money in, and then that's risky. Yeah. So do both, ladies and gentlemen. You might not get 20,000% rate of return, but you also can't be greedy either. Never underestimate 20%, 30%. They add up over the course of time.
And the most important thing is length of time to hold. Like the two factors, the mitigation of risk, and I'll be talking about this at my performance at Investfest. Thank y'all for the time allotted. Ooh, gonna be a movie. Mitigation of risk. So what competitive threats are there to the company that I love the most is one of my favorite prompts. And if you do that at Apple, it looked like World War III. Every AI company is aiming at Apple. And then length of time to hold. I always say follow the best hedge funds, countries, and investors on the planet. Dr. Buss didn't sell the Lakers after 10 years. Some of you say 40 years is too long to hold. 10 isn't. If you hold for a 10-year period, you should minimum have 500% return in the technology stock, but probably 2,000 to 4,000 if it's top tier.
Speaking of Investfest, should I don't know if I
yes.
Should I tell them when you're speaking?
Please do.
It's a special slot. Speaking of the late great Jerry Buss, Ian Dunlap will be immediately following the great Magic Johnson. It's Magic Johnson, then it's Ian Dunlap. Pick and roll. The pick and roll play.
Prime
time television.
Yep. Prime time
television. Magic Johnson Sunday. Right after Ian Dunlap comes back to back.
Whew. Get your popcorn ready. Elon, mail my flamethrowers, please. I need them. Send them in a robo taxi. And it's a big point on preparation and delivering. Last year was some conversation on who was the best between me, Keys, and 50. Magic, if you ever seen him speak, he is entertaining as hell.
He doesn't sit down either. He gets up.
He gets up to move.
He doesn't sit down during conversation. He gets up.
He's a showman.
Yeah. Kind of like what 50 did that a little bit last year.
Sure. Yeah. He was feeling the energy of the crowd and knowing when to entertain the crowd. That's something Fat Man Scoop, God rest his soul, love him dearly. That's something he put in my show. She's like, you cannot be in one spot. Every 10 seconds, move around. I was like, okay. Gotcha.
Gotta move around. All right, before we bring our guest on, I think there's one more clip that we should show.
So as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours You don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Wow. He was quite upset, but the biggest load is crazy.
Pause.
I'm
biggest low. He said the biggest low we've ever seen.
Oh,
is legend.
Freak off.
First and foremost, that's crazy. Second of all, okay, we talked about the Iran Israel situation last week when Van was on.
Yep.
This is the follow up. Man, yo, he's cursing reporters out like it's okay. First of all, Trump, like I said, Trump is a wild boy, man. He's wild. Because before that, he actually put on his Truth Social. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I check Truth Social every day because I gotta see.
You got Truth Social on your phone?
I don't have it on my phone, but I check it. I go to Truth. I Google Truth Social.
Okay.
And I look to see what he says because a lot of people
breaking news.
He's entertaining
For sure.
Like regardless of how you feel about him, regardless, like the guy's entertaining.
Yeah.
He said, "Thank you, Iran, for letting us know that you was gonna send the missiles. We appreciate that."
Crazy. Like I've never been a diplomat, but look, when you sit with the generals, I don't know if you're supposed to tweet out or truth out that information.
And then he's saying like, "Yo, thank you for your cooperation in this." Like, yo, he's a funny guy. He's entertaining. Now, this is interesting. Okay, from what I got from that is that they bombed those bunkers just as a, you know, one
to
of
let
these,
you know we could,
I'm gonna make Israel happy. I'm just gonna send you a shockwave, but I'm not trying to get into this fight. I have no intentions of getting into a war at all, and I'm not supporting a war at all. Right? That's what I got from that,
especially during this time.
What'd you get?
It's unnecessary. Same thing. I'm going to at least act tough, but I'm going to bomb an area where that won't cause that much damage to your citizens, so we don't end up in a deeper kerfuffle. I get to please Israel. I get to go back home and play golf in Mar-a-Lago. Well executed.
So you think that? I mean, as of right now, I think it's kind of died back down again. But he had very strong words, and he was extremely unhappy. I mean, he's like, it's kind of crazy. Like, if you give somebody 12 hours, he's like, yo, they just going to drop every single bomb that you have. Like, come on. Like, what are you doing? And
to say they don't know what the F they're doing is interesting.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Wow.
People are not in love with this idea of war. And I think people, especially politically, are getting smarter than ever. These endless wars are not needed. This isn't the audience of 2000 that fell for the weapons of mass destruction. People are not going for this bullshit.
It's over. It's over. The days of selling the American people war as being patriotic and we got to rally around and we got to send all, like, those days are over with. So, and I think that's a sign of the time. And I hope that there isn't some level of sabotage to try to force a war, but I don't think Americans have the appetite for war. The politicians obviously don't. Trump, he spoke very poignantly about that. So yeah, I think that the George Bush days, even the Obama days, if we're going to be honest,
very true.
You know, I think those days are over with. We don't have the appetite to go into countries and try to, you know, plant our flag and they got to do it under the radar now.
Absolutely. And that's where Palantir and Andrew will come into power and come into play over the next 5 or 6 years. But the terrorist enemy combatant, no one's going for that when the cost of living is highest that it's ever been.
Yeah.
Especially in New York and even with the fires in California. I don't hear as much relief being talked about in California as it was 3 or 4 months ago. We don't need another endless war. Let's take care of the citizens here first.
Yeah. They're not going for it. All right, let's bring our guest up, can we?
Hey,
Punch.
Hello. I've been waiting. I'm chilling. No, I'm waiting until y'all start me. I'm just waiting.
Yo, before you start, I just want to say something. Rashad, I just want to tell you some real nigga shit. I appreciate you fucking with Punch. Nah, seriously. Like when I see you, because Punch, and nigga always fuck with you in person. But Rashad be talking about you, and I appreciate that because Rashad is like a professor, Punch. Me and you we the street corner disciples, right? So you kind of need a professor to say he's okay. He's okay. So I just want to give you that, Rashad, my brother. Now, Punch, the floor is yours.
I'm very happy to be here as well, man. I'm just waiting. When I'm like, somebody tag me and I'm ready to go. That's it. I got love for Ian and Sean already. Troy, this is good energy. These are my guys. I'm ready to go though. I'm wherever they want to take it.
Okay.
Sean got on the motherfucking Locks hat. That in Atlanta, that sound like who wants some? Who won it? Who won it? So I already know where we at. I'm with you.
Oh man. Well, first and foremost, thank both of you guys for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about, man. We're gonna talk about a wide variety of topics, right? But first, all right. So let's start the conversation with this, man. Shout out to Jim Jones. He had some interesting take. Let's play the clip, and then let's have this discussion.
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Let's keep it a buck here.
Yeah, but let's
keep it a buck. You heard? Let's keep it a buck because you'll bring it up. There must be some type of misconception. A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them. But they forget I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself, gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. Me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record. Then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries. Then check all them niggas' entries and shit like that. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody. But I hear the comparisons and then niggas be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, then pull up my billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I want to go there. I want to go down the line now because now we're going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I want to go statistically because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
Forget about the numbers. You heard? My numbers back up nothing. There's never is me. Putting me up against anybody, I'm taking me every time. Every time.
Okay,
every time in all categories.
Let me say something though, Jim.
Okay. Wow. So first and foremost, let's preface this by saying this. Shout out to Joe and Jada. Congratulations on their show.
For sure.
Those are the bros. And shout out to Jim Jones. So shout out to all parties involved.
Shout out to Jim. Shout out to Nas.
They've all done a bunch of stuff with us.
So, Punch, you gonna go?
Me? Okay, first things first.
Let me try go, then Punch.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, go ahead, let go.
Let me start. Then I'm gonna get everybody to chime in. I respect Jim Jones because I remember when Jim Jones, the first time I heard Jim Jones, I'm a real hip hop historian. So the first time I heard Jim Jones was on Confessions of Fire, Cameron's first album, and Jim was on, and he was essentially like Cameron's like I don't want to be disrespectful, but he was like his hype man pretty much, right? Like, so you him rapping, it was just like he was just saying words. He wasn't even rapping. He was just like saying he had a song with him, Jim Jones, and his mother, right? Like that lets you know like Jim Jones' lyrical ability at that time. So to see him from that point to just he willed himself to like he's a perfect example of what determination, hard work can get you. He literally has willed himself to be able to close Summer Jam, right? That's an accomplishment that should not be taken lightly, and he's still relevant in this game from 1998 to 2025. That's commendable. That's very, very much commendable, man. Like he's an anomaly is what he's been able to do. But sometimes in life, we might over exaggerate our standings. And I rock with Jim, I fuck with Jim, but Jim Jones and Nas should never be mentioned in the same sentence. Respectfully. And I don't care what comparison it is as far as today's relevance, because even that argument is relative. Because you could say, okay, he's more relevant today. Well, look at the booking prices. I know it's a big difference.
Good shot.
No, I'm being honest. Like I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying, like, how do we gauge relevancy? Is he more relevant to a 25-year-old? Of course.
And is relevancy overrated?
It is overrated because you're relevant to a young demographic, but there's more 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds that listen to hip hop than there are 20 and under, right? So it amazes me how we just disregard people that's in their 40s and people that's in their 50s like they don't matter anymore, and the people that's disregarding them are in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Like I'm 41 years old. I still listen to music. I'm not listening to NBA Youngboy. There's people that listen to him, but does that disregard who I'm listening to because I'm over 40 years old? I have no say so in this. Like, is my spending power less valuable
or not important? Yeah,
and not important. Like I said, if you want to book Nas for a show, see how much his booking rate is.
Insane.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money. What that tells me is that he's still relevant.
Well, okay, I'm sorry for finish.
No, go ahead. I'm
gonna say, well, and there's a difference between being hot and being big, right? I think Jim Jones is measuring himself against Nas because he's hot, but he's also been around him as a peer. So it's like, it's kind of like it's like we look up to Jay, but I don't look up to Drake. Drake came in the game after me. Like, I saw his rise, so I see he didn't affect me when I was at home trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a difference between being big and being hot. And I think that Jim Jones is hot. But to me, the problem, Rashad, man, bro, you just broke it down so great. Our problem is that we black people give youth all the power.
Yep.
Like, white men have power at every age. Like, we're the only one that's like, you're 40, you played out.
Yeah, 14 and 19.
Like, and to me, it's we have to change that narrative, but by leading our children differently, if you will, right? Because it's like we always blame the kids. I hate that, right? Like, we didn't raise them. Like, we might not have raised them, but our partners did, our friends did. So we know what they grew up in. So they was in a house saying, F all that. You don't got to listen to nobody. You do it. And you know the stuff that you heard as a kid, like to say that. But like, it's not all the way true. Sometimes you might need somebody to say, this is how it goes. This is how it needs to be. This is what a man does. And to me, I agree with you, Rashad. If Jim was, I think the only reason why it bothers people that Jim said it is because of his age. I think if Jim said it and he was 24, no one would care. Like, oh, just another young dude thinking he's better than Nas. But I think because he's grown, people like, nigga.
Yeah.
Come on. But you got to remember, as much as he's around, he is our age, he's around young folks.
Yeah.
So like, and they telling him everything you want to hear. So you got to remember, like, they don't care about Illmatic. And then that thing he said about Nas dropping Illmatic when he was in high school, you got to remember, he's around young niggas who are in high school probably listening to his shit, so he understands the old with the new. So I think that he knows what he's doing. He knows people like Rashad is going to be like, Joe is going to be like, come on. But he also knows them young dudes, Rashad nephew and little cousins and that call you OG is looking at you like, nigga, you bugging on Jim. So he understands that's the conversation. And to me, I think that's the brilliant part of what he did. But sometimes I put it like this. Lil Wayne had to call himself the best rapper alive before the world did. Jay-Z had to call himself the best rapper alive before the world did. So like Jim called himself best
rapper. There was
alive.
aptitude and capability. Not saying that Jim isn't.
No.
Hell of improvement. But Wayne and Jay are two different people, especially when you get to talking about Nas.
No. I was only speaking about them claiming their status on the totem pole.
Okay.
Like nobody's gonna get that. like nobody's just gonna give you that in hip hop. You're number one because I said it. No, you got to say I'm number one, and then get tried, tested, all that stuff. Then come out on top to be like, yeah, I told y'all, right? But like to me, Jim is in a very interesting space because he's old enough to be your daddy, but he's also making music for the kid. So he's speaking like a grown man to the kids, to grown. It's like it's ill what he's doing, and it'll be studied. But you know, I think he knows himself. He's not better than Nas and Rashad.
Another thing that I think that I want to actually go over here is the misconception of Nas has one good album, because that's a common theme. That's a common theme that's permeated around hip hop culture is Illmatic. You hear Illmatic, yo, he was the man in high school. That's common theme. So as a hip hop historian, let's have this conversation.
Because I think the second one was what?
I told Nas, we had the pleasure of having dinner with Nas, and I personally told him to his face that I think it was written was better than Illmatic. To me, it was even more impactful to my life.
Yeah.
But Illmatic, of course, is the standard. Everybody knows that's one of the greatest albums of all time. That's Mona Lisa. But right after that, like, because we can't rewrite history, 1996, when It Was Written dropped, that was playing from every car,
everywhere in the world.
Everywhere. Like, if I ruled the world, Street Dreams.
Oh my God.
Yo, the affirmative action. That's when the firm first started. Like, we're not going to act like It Was Written didn't change the game. He came like, so, okay, let's have a hip hop conversation. When Nas changed, he came out on some army fatigue, you know, like street shit, right?
Yeah.
He changed it to Nas Escobar. That's what the silk,
which was not undone. Yes.
The fly shit. That's when Biggie said it's funny when MCs came out on some cruddy shit, listened to Ready to Die, studied it, now out the blue. Like, he's talking about Nas on that.
Yeah.
But then Nas came back with the, let me let y'all niggas know one thing, it's one life, one love, because there could only be one king. Lex GS the minimum, because that's when Jay-Z had the Lexus in the first Reasonable Doubt video.
Exactly. That President's video.
So we're not going to act like It Was Written was not classic, and Nas was still at the top, rapping his ass off for It Was Written, right? Now, I Am comes out, mixed reviews on that album.
We're not even going to, I felt like that was hate from labels who wanted to get Nas out of that spot. I Am is a fire album too.
It's like, I'm not gonna lie, Ian, you're right, because it felt like at that moment he had the culture, and now it was like, let's go get the money. Yeah, that's what I Am felt like to me. It was like he was going for like the I think, is it Uchiwali on that? Like, that's when he was going for like the popular sound.
Uchiwali wasn't in that, but
the Aaliyah song, You Won't See Me Tonight.
The You Won't See Me Tonight, and the Timberlake. Yeah. No, what's bro's name? No. That was Nostradamus.
You told me something.
That was Nostradamus.
Oh.
But it
Project Windows was on
I Am had Hate Me Now, which is one of the biggest records.
Toughest record. What?
When they say Nas don't have hit records.
That's a smash.
I remember Flex played Hate Me Now for 3 hours straight. That's when Flex was dropping ball. Hate Me Now.
In Chicago, Power 92, they played it for 2 hours straight. And I saw Nas in concert performing with Puff. The building went crazy. United Center.
$1 million video, Puff pouring the champagne out. They had the Minks, the Tigers. Like, that's another misconception. He don't have big records. Nas is like. That's one of Nas's best songs.
That's one of my favorite Nas records, by the way.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, now Nostradamus comes out. Now that is a album that most people. I actually like Nostradamus, but I'm a Nas fan, obviously. But most people were disappointed with Nostradamus. Most people were disappointed with Nostradamus. Right after Nostradamus comes out, that's when and then most people thought that his career was over. Yes. Then he comes back with arguably the greatest diss record of all time, which is Ether. Absolutely. And one of the greatest albums again, which is Stillmatic. Stillmatic had Rewind, it had One Mic, it had Ether, it had Stillmatic is a great ass album.
Especially at the time, and Ray, you can talk to this. I remember being in college playing it, and the thought was like, no, Nas is like Jay is killing Nas. There's no coming back.
Yes.
Then to drop that song, which in Bloomington, they play Ether 25 times on the radio.
Yo.
Then for him to drop that album, what?
Yeah, the only thing I think hurt Nas was that I think Stout was compromised. They don't talk about it.
How so?
Let me tell you what I mean by that. Because you got to remember, Stout is Nas Dame Dash. But he's also Jay's friend. Meanwhile, Dame Dash ain't Nas's friend. So Dame is like Rashad. I remember trying to come up in the music business when that beef was happening, riding around New York, and Nas went to Hot and was like, Dame has shut me down. Dame is trying to get me. And Dame was on the other radio station laughing at him like, he mad? He mad? Nas just didn't have that. He didn't have the antagonist on his
You need
team.
a dog behind you. Yep.
He needed that dog, and I think that because I ain't gonna lie, Rashad, when you speak about Nas, like I like him, but when I hear you speak, I'm like, damn, that's real. But it was like he didn't have a you. He didn't have a nigga like, and let me tell you what my man did. Ain't the nigga. Jay had that. So
he had it, yep.
They had, and then Jay also had a Memphis Bleak, and then he had Beans and Philly niggas in it. So it felt like it was Nas versus the Avengers, right? But it was only because he was compromised in the war because Stout can't plot against his man Hove. You know, look what happened to Irv Gotti when he tried to get in the middle of the friendship. Like that was when Hove was like, you done. I'm done. So I think that's really what, as you talking about, I'm like, damn, this nigga really.
And it's a good lesson to get friends that don't play both sides.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Nas needs you, Sean. I ain't lying, bro. Like, you Howard Cosell, bro. Like when you talk about him, I got so much. Like I always like he's highly revered. But when I hear you talk about it, I'm like, damn. And I understand. I say this on record. Nas to me is equivalent to what Andre 3000 is to Atlanta. Like it's just like he's the greatest to us. Don't talk about him if you don't understand it. It's just our thing. It's almost like don't say nothing bad. But Andre is from the South, and in the South we don't have that bravado. Like I'll beat anybody ass. So it's kind of like we love Andre. So T.I., Future, Baby. I don't give a damn who you are in Atlanta. Everybody is like Andre 3 Stacks. That's our goal. New York is different. It's the concrete jungle. So as great as Nas is, like he's like, I'll ask you a question, Rashad. Is the Mona Lisa pretty to you?
No.
At the time, she was the most beautiful woman in the world. So it was like, nigga, you basically them kids saying Nas ain't the shit. It's the same concept. They don't understand the time and what it meant to be and what he did. I get it. But like,
I just think culturally, we don't do.
It got to be a New York thing. I think New York has to set the stage that Nas is off limit the way Atlanta set the stage that 3 Stacks is off limits. I think it's the first time to stop the Nas slander, and then we can go from there.
Culturally, though, for him to be this great of a poet, to make Illmatic, to get knocked down when I felt like the industry was attacking him. I'll start brushing my hair to get waves in 7th grade because of Nas. Then to come back and put out Ether and fight Jay, and then to turn into the investor that he is while keeping his integrity. I think culturally we don't do a good enough job at raising up profile and celebrating people who did things the right way. Like same with 50's story. He was attacked. Nas physically wasn't shot the way 50 was, but I felt like at a time the industry was gunning to take him out of the equation while all of the people around him may have not been moving correctly. I just think there needs to be more respect put. And I love Jim, and Jim got a history of slamming around people in restaurants from Indiana. Jim, you know I love you. Shout out to my boys, big money, all that. But Jim Strong, yo, hey, some of y'all be talking about Jim online, and I'm like, Jim will deadlift you.
I say one thing, Rashad, is important. You, to me, I respect you as a Nas fan. Now, what I don't respect is people like Shannon Sharp and how he handled it.
Why?
It was lame. Because let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Rashad is a fan. So when Shannon is like, you can't fuck with Nas, he basically saying what Rashad is saying. Like, you crazy? So then Jim is like, name one Nas, name a record on the Nas album.
You don't have to be able to name a song and say this person is better.
My point. You should not speak on it. If you're like Rashad, that's why I don't like, nigga, I'm being for real. anytime I bring Nas' name up now, I'm thinking about with Rashad before I say something because I'm like, he gonna text me, he gonna hit me. So for me, it's just the respect that Rashad made me have for someone that I didn't see at the time the way he saw. That's what we need. That's appreciated.
Ray, can I ask you on Punch? When do artists get told, no, you shouldn't feel that you're the best if you're not the best?
Never.
You can't tell an artist that.
Why?
Never.
If he's garbage.
That's like, that's like somebody telling you, you the average investor.
My net worth and gains say otherwise. I didn't say that because
that came over time, though. You know what I'm saying? But like, nigga, you was like the T.I., you was king of the South. You was like, I'm the king. And
no, but there is, and Punch, I'm gonna give you a floor, but there is a thing of, like in the league, right? Like,
yes,
the level.
LeBron. Okay, when Lance Stevenson was doing his shenanigans against LeBron, it got called out. Like, yo, bro, enough is enough, bro. Like, you're not on this level. Like, you're not Kobe.
John Stevenson.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, everybody is not qualified. Just because you play the game, that excuse of like, yo, we all play the game. No, there's levels. But Punch, can you speak on this?
Can y'all hear me clear now straight?
Yeah.
Much better. So I think the number one thing, even the point that Ian brought up, sports is a stat-driven business. Finances is a stat-driven business. A lot of things are stat-driven business. There are white facts, there are black facts. The white and black, but then there is gray when we are talking about artistic presence. We have to understand that we're operating in the gray when we're talking about music. So people like to believe that their perspective is in the black and in the white. And it 99% of the time is not. Right. Unless we are going like where Jim totally fucked up. I got more Billboard entries than Nas. Oh, really? Stat, black and white. Somebody go check it. Then he lost that argument very quickly. But when it comes down to perspective, when we use words like hot and relevant, those words are all under one umbrella, and that umbrella is called temperature. And temperature is very, 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 very gray. We've all been in the house, and this is a generic, really 101 way to say it, and we've all been laid up with wifey, and she goes, I'm cold. And you're like, girl, do not bring that blanket over here. I am hot. You get what I'm saying? That's the simple way, right? But it is real, because temperature is a great statement. One thing that I wanted to say earlier was Jim Jones is very present. We like to use a lot of the wording and say he's young, but Jim is just present. Jim does not make childish music. Jim makes gang music. Jim makes street music. Jim makes aggressive music. He's just presently doing it over production that's reflective of present time.
But to interject, that can be categorized as young.
Nah, young is not present. Present doesn't mean young.
No, what I'm saying is,
but what you said, Punch,
if you're making gang music, right? Yeah. Who are gang members for the most part, right? Active gang member.
But Jim been active in that for a long time.
Active gang member is a. If you're 50-year-old and you're an active gang member, you've done something wrong in life, right? Like,
or the perception is for sure.
Right. There's a thing called maturity and growth, right? Gotcha. So when Nas is making brunch on Sunday, that's something that I can relate to because I can appreciate a brunch on Sunday, right? When you're 100%. Making,
there's other rap figures who act like mob bosses, though. We can't single Jim out.
I'm just saying that it's a certain way you could dress. It's a certain music that is more catered to a younger demographic because they're going to relate to it more than somebody that's in their 40s, somebody that's in their 50s, somebody that has a family, somebody that's married, somebody that got kids.
And to back Rashad's point up, when we're in the meetings and we're like, yo, we got an album coming out. Who is it for? I don't think anybody thought Jim's album was for 40-year-olds and the better because of the subject matter, right? So,
and is anybody listening to Jim Jones' album? Like, I don't want to dump on Jim Jones because I really appreciate
Jim's music has been, I think, the best the last 4 or 5 years.
He's made some of the best music in New York City. But I mean, when you're talking about albums, can you name a Jim Jones album?
Is that for Punch, Ray, or who?
For anybody.
Can I name an album? I'm not. What you're doing here.
Jim gonna text you, Rashad.
Yo, Punch, they bugged you. They bugged your phone, man. You underwater now. Now you sound you underwater.
Let me just say something though.
Hustler's Poem.
I just want to say something though. Like Hustler's Poem, you got a few, but here's the thing. Jim perception was never album artist. You know what I'm saying? Like it was always like, can he get a hot record? Right? To his defense, like hot albums, Rashad, is for like when we're in the rooms. You better believe like how you talking. That's how the CEO talk. We're not giving this nigga all those fucking resources. He ain't making this shit. So everybody thinks like that. It's there, but you know, when you going into the rooms, I need to know who I'm pushing this to. I got $100 to market this shit. I ain't got 100 million. So who you want me to put this 100 on? 18 to 24 in New York. Let's put out resources there. So Rashad is right. It's just you don't want to say it's the demo. It's like it's the demo though. It's kids. It's for kids.
Punch. We gonna get. Are you clear now?
I don't think so. No,
you're not.
Oh, they bugged my man.
We might have to bring you back on a later date. We might have to bring. But all right, let's figure out the audio.
Some Jim Jones fans, Nas fans have Wi-Fi, and you know.
But I don't want to dump on Jim.
But Rashad, he literally said like 40-year-olds and plus music. That's what Nas doing it for. If you 40 and plus, you should have good Wi-Fi right now. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like if you fucking 20 making gym artists, gym niggas is in the streets right now with the. It goes back to the demographic, my nigga. You know the difference.
Shout out to Jim. I really think the best music Jim has made in his career has been the last five or 6 years. So we got to give him credit for the growth. I think the Nas comparison was a bit much, but he has put out great music though. Good. But why do you think? Well, if Shannon can't name a Nas album, you still have ears and eyes. You can see that the talent level is different.
But I get it, but my only problem is that Shannon, you talk amongst your football friends. He took his moment to shit on Jim, and that's not cool to me.
Did Jim come at him disrespectfully?
Oh no! I like the clip I saw. You know,
he just started.
You can't fuck with Nas, like, and Jim was like, "Oh, hold on, nigga!" Like
he started it out of nowhere, and I think it was some clip farming.
It absolutely was, but that's what I didn't like. It's like my nigga, like nobody talks about who you met when Shannon Sharp was going against Shaq. Like from my perspective, you got one 4-time champion and one 3-time champion, you know, but Shannon was like, Shaq bigger than me. Shaq had a better career than me. Shaq. And I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, from my perspective, you maximize the tight end position and Shaq maximize the center position. But you cowtailed yourself. You downplayed yourself. And hip-hop.
But you got to respect him for being honest to say, no, Shaq had a better career.
No. That's what you are. That's not how it goes in hip-hop. As much as Nas and Jay-Z, we all have our sides. It's not like they played the game and said you win. If you were a Jay fan, you said Jay won. If you were a Nas fan, you said Nas.
I don't think it was like that. I'm a Jay-Z fan.
Who won the battle?
No. Jay won the war. Nas won the battle.
Y'all just proved my point. One said Nas convictingly. One said
Jay. But the majority of
Super Ugly. There's no comparison.
The majority of people thought that Nas won the battle.
Nas won.
Jay won.
The majority.
Hey, why? Hear me out. Because I was in New York. Remember. Ether dropped, but Rashad, I'm in New York when Nas is on one station saying they shut me down. So he looked like the weak nigga to me. Like, why are you on the station complaining about what they did?
If we just talking about the songs.
No. But I'm saying that when I think of the battle, I think of that also. I don't just think of Super Ugly. Like, I think about how these niggas, and Rashad, you know what I'm talking about. They was battling for New York City. Battling for the airwaves. And by the way, Nas was he had the better records, but Hov had the infrastructure. Angie Martinez, he had the people. They love him.
And that's what makes the victory even more impressive. When Fat Joe went up there, rest in peace to K Slay. Fat Joe went up there, K Slay was up there. Hot 97 they did a call-in poll.
Yeah.
And they was like, yo, Nas won. It was like 55-45, and he was like, "Yo, this is bullshit, man. It's 80-20."
Can I tell you why they did a poll, Rashad? You know why they did a poll? Because nobody at the station wanted to say Nas won because they didn't want to piss Jay and Dame off.
Exactly. That's what
you're saying. We know the game he playing against.
They wouldn't even if K Slay was the first. They didn't even want to play that record at first.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even want to play Ether. K Slay, he played it. The streets demanded it, and they had no choice but to play it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But like Nas is for the people. Jay had to peep the system in his pocket. That's why I say he won. Nigga, and by the way, if he did
won a war.
In New York they say he lost. But if he did lose, only New York thinks like
But I don't even think that he won the war. I just think that they're two different people. I feel like Nas is never wanted to be Jay-Z. Like he never wanted to sit courtside at games. Steve Stout even said that. He was like, yo, I tried to get him to come to the courtside. I tried to get him to go. He's like, he never wanted the limelight. He never wanted to be. Jay is a different person, right? So I think that they're both winners.
And I think that Nas' position compared to Jay pissed Jay off. I think that pissed him off. I think it pissed him off that he didn't have to show up to get the love. He didn't like. That's why when Jay-Z said, "Just because the nigga wear kufi don't mean that he right."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just because you understand what a nigga saying don't mean that he nice. So Jay is really kind of telling y'all like he is for a certain demographic over there, and I'm for this over here.
But there's also people trying to reshift legacy. Even I ask Rashad all this all the time. Where does Big Hate come from on the East Coast? Well, he only had 2 albums. I'm like, a lot of times in our culture, we let people and media outlets reposition our icons and brands, and I don't see that happen in other cultures.
Big only had 2.
I ain't gonna lie.
Big had 3.
And Rashad just did it to me. He just changed my entire position on Nas and everything from his perspective. So
media master.
That's my point. That's my point, Rashad. Like, but that's why I say, speak up for what you care, Rashad. I wasn't in Queens on the block in Queensbridge when the album was out. Like, I didn't understand that. I told you, I understood Goody Mob. When they was talking about Live at the Omni, I was taking the train to the Omni train station trying to pick up chicks. So I related to them. So people like you should come to the culture and say, here's what my childhood was feel like and the importance of Nas. But I'm going to just say this. People like you got to let people like me say, I love Illmatic, but Goody Mob Soul Food was a classic to me on
for
that
sure.
level. And that's my only thing when it becomes
you said Goody Mob's album was better than Illmatic.
To me.
No, to nobody.
No, to me it is though. That's what I'm saying.
You would have a better case going AT Aliens, you don't think?
Well, I'm saying, Rashad, what I'm saying is that I get it, but like 15 years old, Live at the Omni, these niggas talking about woke shit that I'm dealing with in the South.
Tough. That's a tough.
Is this gate put up to keep my ass,
bro?
Rashad, when CeeLo Green said, I'm wondering if this gate was put up to keep their asses out or keep our asses in. We thought like that in the South. Why we got gates around our neighborhood? They don't want us to go out and play. I relate to it, bro. And my thing is, hip hop will be better when we let people that relate to things different than us come into the room. And that's my only issue with hip hop. So when you say Bow Wow Jay, shut the fuck up, how dare you? And it's like, I'm just saying he was a star. Like, that's God damn.
You said Bow Wow was a bigger star than Jay-Z at one point.
I said Bow Wow. No, I said if you measure their peaks, Bow Wow was a bigger star. In the music business, Jay-Z didn't play the star game. That's why he hated. That's why he didn't play the star game. Jay, he was smart. He was just a great MC. He had great crew. Everybody knew how to follow the rules. So and by the way, I only know this because a great friend of mine called me and was like, you got to stop putting Jay so high. And I'm like, Rashad, nigga, what? That's Jay-Z. He better chill. Then he tells me this. He says, Jay-Z is older than Tupac and he's older than Biggie. Tupac had his whole career. And he's younger than Jay and died basically before Jay had
Tupac a different
star.
Different legend. He's a different type of legend. He's a different type of legend.
He's a star.
Jay-Z took the slow grind. You see, this is the thing I respect about Jay-Z. He wasn't the number one. Jay-Z's like the second round draft pick that became the greatest, right?
The mega star, yeah.
When Jay-Z first came out, first of all, he came out at 26. It's crazy now. 26 is young, but at that point in time, 26
it was almost a death sentence to be that old with your debut.
Nas came out when he was 19 years old. Yeah. Like you said, Biggie died at 25.
Biggie died at 25.
Pac died at 24.
25.
25.
Biggie died at 24.
Yeah,
so 24. When Jay came out at 26, he's like an older statesman almost, right? And he wasn't. He had the. It wasn't until Biggie died to his third album, Hard Knock Life. That's when he sold 5 million records, and that's when he was out of here. But the first 2 albums didn't take off like that.
Exactly, but you know why? Because he was trying to find his stardom. He was like, what's going to work for me? Rashad is like, I know it's crazy, but I do music. You got to package yourself up. Nigga, you and me both saw the same video with this dude on a helicopter landing in New York, jumping his GS300 and saying, who the fuck is that? He got more money than everybody, and he was rapping about getting money. He impressed us because he was what we wanted to be. Bow Wow was a star. Put him out there, and it was pandemonium. Then when they figured out, here's a huge difference. When they figured out who Bow Wow is, they checked out on him. When they figured out who Hove is, they leaned in more.
Yep. Well, I would say this: when is Jay's peak? Because to me, Jay-Z's peak.
He had about 3 or 4 to me.
He had
about 3 or 4 to me.
Black Album.
He had 3. Jay-Z had the Hard Knock Life.
Hard Knock Life. Yeah, sales wise, then Blueprint artistically,
and then to the Blueprint.
Black
the Black Album was
the Black Album.
That was a retirement moment, and then I think the next album was, to me, Blueprint 3, because that was when that was his biggest album, his biggest record was Empire State of Mind. But you got to remember, guys, like, I'm in the music business, right? So in the music business, when they speak about Jay-Z, they don't speak about Jay-Z being a star. They speak about Jay-Z being smart. So, like, nigga, I've been in board meetings where big white man was like, Jay-Z, no one makes money with him. And I'm looking around like, God damn, you just talking about one of my motherfucking heroes. Like, he ain't who he is. But that's what they do. They make you see him as human. Jay-Z, so I'm not saying Jay is not that nigga. He is the coolest nigga to ever live. I always say that. But star, like you know, like when you put that star on the stage and you get those louder screams, and Bow Wow didn't have to earn it. He got it.
But this is the question I always want to ask to every creator: what's more important, equity, which is a hard, tangible metric, or the shit being hot, relevancy, the things that they make up, the plaques they make us chase that don't have any real value? That's the same reason why I put him and Nas up here. Because if you told me in '96 that Nas, when him and Tupac was going to war, he would then be like, if you look at his venture capital run, Buffett-esque.
Incredible. But guess
what? No one on earth predicted that would happen.
Rashad, remember, if that was Hove would have had an album called Marcy Ventures. That's the difference. Nas is quiet. And I think that's the only thing that irritated Jay about him, because he just got it. Nas, to me, probably is more gifted as a star than Jay, because Nas doesn't want it. Like Rashad, he doesn't want it, and he gets it. Bow Wow didn't want it. He just got it. And in my world, artists that work like 2 Chainz took longer than Ludacris. He's probably going to have a longer career than Ludacris because he got later. He made it when he was 30. So now he's 46, 47. He's still in it. And Luda made it when he was 23. Don't nobody got 50 years of themselves doing this shit. It's when you made it and when you started to. Jay-Z is smart. My nigga, he's probably the smartest black man alive. And when you're smart, you figure out a way to make the audience see you without trying. And that's what Jay did, and that took longer. But when Jermaine Dupri put that little boy on fucking 106th Park, and he was rapping about
Bow Wow was a mega.
It was like pandemonium.
Bow Wow's corny now, but that 2000 or 03 run.
You know, I'm gonna piss Rashad off now. But Rashad, let me tell you who Jay-Z is and who Bow Wow is. Jay-Z is Nikolai. He's the Joker. Best player in the league, just doesn't care. He's a joker. He doesn't play the game that all the NBA players play. He's the best player. He just doesn't give a fuck. And Bow Wow was Allen Iverson. He ain't win no motherfucking championship.
That's Pat Croce fault. We're not doing that to AI. We're not doing that to AI.
It mattered, nigga. And by the way, I'll give Jay-Z Kobe Bryant because he won 5 and he by the way, as much as that fucking series between the Sixers and the fucking Lakers, when then Lakers beat the Sixers at 4-1, what's the most famous scene from that series? AI walking over Tyronn Lue. That's because he was the favorite. Kobe was the better one. But AI was the fan favorite.
Right. I respect Bow Wow. He's a legend. He's actually a legend. He's actually a legend. At no point in time did anybody ever say, have you heard the new Bow Wow? I've never heard in life. I've never heard.
Now,
not one time.
Can I tell you something? I'm glad you didn't, because you would be telling us how you was 26 messing with 16-year-olds. My nigga, you wasn't supposed to hear that. You're older than Bow Wow, bro. Bow Wow is talking about as
Bow Wow ain't that young, like how they try
Bow Wow was never Bow Wow was never respectfully. Bow Wow was never respected as an MC. As a kid, as an adult, was he a legend, an icon? Yes, but bro, we're not gonna rewrite history.
To
compare him to Allen Iverson is crazy.
It's crazy.
Why?
That's great.
Oh my God. And can I be real with you? Rashad, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I thought when I said it, I was like, I'm cooking.
No, not AI.
Really?
Because AI is a cultural icon, bro. Like, he changed the game as far as for young black men to look at themselves and like, he was the motivation. Bow Wow was never the motivation. He was never the motivation, bro.
It was never the motivation for us because we're older than him. But
for anybody.
No, listen, I had kids kids in school was like, my little cousin kissed Bow Wow when she was like 13. This motherfucker came home. It was, oh my God, he kissed her. It was like, who gives a fuck? You know, I'm like, this little nigga, yeah, what y'all talking about? But he was a star.
Okay.
And my thing is, we gotta stop being black people are the only people that do that. We're the only people that's like, yeah, but not that big. And it's like, fuck that shit. I'm saying it because when I watched that movie, what's that movie that Robert did, The Irishman, and they said that Jimmy Hoffa at one point was the most famous person in the world. I'm like, how? But back then, that's probably how the world worked. It don't make sense to me.
The Beware of the Dog sold 2.1 million albums. Doggy Bag in 01 sold 1 million. In 05, Wanted sold 1 million. What album came out in Jay-Z for 2000?
The Blueprint.
Volume 3?
Actually, no. The Rock La Familia album.
The Rock La Familia.
Okay, yeah.
But look, he sold records, no, for sure. But I'm just saying there's a difference between selling records and being a star and being motivation. Like,
Jeezy motivation, Hove motivation, Nas
motivation.
Right.
Kanye makes you not feel alone, right? Kanye makes you not feel alone. If you
Will Smith, like, all right, Will Smith at one point in time was a mega star, sold millions of records. So millions of records. Will Smith was not the motivation for anybody. No disrespect.
I'm about to get him in. Then why did Jay-Z say still sold more records than Will Smith?
Because Will Smith was
the bar that I was trying to be.
He's a pop star. He's a pop star.
Nigga, you know Jay-Z does not mention the poor in his records. He does not. Nigga, only dude selling units M Pimp Juice in us.
Yeah.
That nigga mentioned that name because he had to show y'all. Nigga, that wasn't for us in the culture. That wasn't for me and you that like this.
Yeah, I think
women in the MTV audience that didn't realize that Jay-Z was bigger than Will Smith in the culture, even though Will Smith was a bigger star.
What we're talking about is a thing called influence. Success and influence
or manufactured celebrity.
Success and influence do not always correlate. You just mentioned Eminem. Eminem is probably the most successful rapper when you talk about records sold, right?
Absolutely.
Eminem, he didn't have an influence in black communities. Not in my high school. He didn't have influence. He didn't have any influence. No matter how many records he sold a lot of records.
But Bow Wow and even M are different because it's a lot of them rappers who was avoiding that battle with M too.
Hey, can I ask you know who's having a fucking nervous breakdown in society right now?
Oh.
Justin Bieber.
No
white person is knocking him. He wasn't a star. They're like hell. We like to downplay our people. And my thing is that I'm tired of that because, like, I ain't lying to you, Rashad. I'm riding the Nas all day because of you. That's how much I respect your opinion. I'm like, I got to get on this wave. This nigga, next time he hit me, I got to be with him because I respect you in your opinion. I just feel like I just want people to think differently and not.
I respect it, but there's different categories. I'm not downplaying Bow Wow, but I'm just saying that there's a thing called the hip hop purist. Like Jim Jones is a cultural icon. He has a lot of influence. He changed the game when it comes to fashion. He helped for better or worse.
And
he helped frontline gang culture. He has a lot of influence, but he's not a purist when it comes to rap.
But right? Rashad, I want to say this. I think I just figured it out. I'm not speaking about hip hop when I speak about star.
He's talking about Q score star power.
So the reason why we got to Bow Wow, if I'm being honest with you, was because Jay-Z is my favorite rapper of all time. He's the top rapper of all time. But then I'm like, where does Nelly sit? Because he's a top something. He's just not a top rapper. Nelly is a top superstar. So I'm like, who else is a superstar? LL Cool J is one of the biggest superstars in hip hop history, right? He might not, by the way, LL might not get the credit that he deserves over Jay-Z.
Underrated. Underrated.
Then so Rashad, what I'm really saying is like we got our top 10 lyric list, right? But who are the rap superstars? Who had the world going crazy?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop's in there.
Snoop, Bow Wow was on the list. I think DMX is the biggest of all time.
Tupac is the biggest of all time.
Well, I think DMX.
Well, Kanye West is the biggest of all time.
You my nigga. I feel the same way. I'm like, dog, you got to understand something. This nigga has endured shit. You know what they say? Kanye has endured nuclear fucking bombs that you was like, he's definitely dead there. And that nigga walks out like Cloak and Dagger. Like, what's next? Hold on.
He's not walking out with Cloak and Dagger now.
No, it's over. It's over now. But I'm just saying, he's had a hell of
Kanye is the Jim Jones of commercial. It's not over for him. Kids love him. My kids don't know who Jim Jones is. My kids don't know who Jay-Z is. My kids know who Ye is, what his sneakers are, because I'm telling y'all, he is uncancelable. He's the only one.
He's canceled now.
No, he's not.
He's not canceled. I think he's
back to billionaire
you
status.
You couldn't even find the album on Spotify.
He's shadow banned. That doesn't mean he's canceled. Kanye, if Kanye comes,
he gonna do them concerts in Helsinki. But as far as that fashion empire, the shoes, #1 album, that's over with.
I'll be real with you. I love EYL because y'all teach people about business, and we all know that motherfucking D2C is the new motherfucking model. Kanye he's selling directly to his customers. This man put a $7 million commercial at the Super Bowl and sold $20 million of items at $20 a piece.
And then what happened?
It doesn't matter. He's showing, he has a youth movement showing that wherever he goes, we're going to follow. And somebody, some greedy man and some corporation going to be like, I'm desperate. They're going to give him one of those Ryan Coogler deals. And it's going to happen. It always does.
Until you go against Day.
Kanye's the only one that went against Day and won.
If he's currently hooked on drugs, did he win?
Well, that's a whole nother story. Now, he might be losing the battle to drugs, but I'm talking about
that they put him on.
Nigga, I've never seen a bank in my life send a public notice to somebody saying, hey, come get your $150 million.
Never in life.
Never in life happened. And this man bounced back from that. You got to he literally lost his billionaire status to get
He's resilient.
He's resilient. He's resilient. He's resilient. But I think he might have went too far this time. But he is resilient. He survived every era.
What do they call the motherfuckers that survived the nuclear wars? What do they call them? Is it rats? Whatever that is.
Cucarachas.
Roaches. You can't get rid of Ye. He's been around since the dinosaurs. You're not going nowhere.
To me, my biggest stars in hip hop history is Kanye West, #1, Tupac Shakur, #2, Snoop Dogg, #3, Jay-Z, #4.
You wouldn't put X over Jay?
No.
In terms of stardom.
Jay even said it. When Jay said that story about X, and he's like, speak, because y'all remember Jay-Z, he doesn't tell us what he's doing when he's doing it. You gonna catch his strategy 20 years later.
Yeah.
When that nigga said that, X came out and was like, bark, lights go out, bark, world go crazy, come out and he's street shit, then he prays, and now bitches is crying and niggas crying from praying, and then he sings like dog. There was nothing like it. And to be honest with you, the only you know how you know he's the biggest star? Because the biggest moments can't last that long.
Well, the only thing about DMX is that his run was relatively short.
That's what I mean, Rashad. It was so quick and
potent. What was the 99 to 03 or 02? 98?
I say 04. 98 because I think that
5 year.
I think
he also did
that was the end.
He also did acting too. That helped him because he was like Tupac. But I would say to me, his longevity, what he's been able to do, his presence, he's just the mega star. I would put him in my fifth spot. I gotta go to 50. You talking about survived every era?
Good. No, sure. Nigga, by the way, 50. 50 is a way bigger star than all of them niggas. 50 is probably
not bigger than Snoop.
Not bigger. No, 50 got Snoop. He don't got Ye. I think Ye got 50 because let's be clear. Snoop has been riding under the light, like just making his money slow. This nigga 50 turned Get Rich or Die Trying into Power, BMF. Like he literally is just making movies about an album that he made. So to me, I think he's one of the big.
Very resilient too.
50's bigger than Snoop.
Yeah, he is. And by the way, even me, when you said that, I'm like, I got to take somebody off my list because 50 is, to me, he's top 5 biggest stars in hip hop history. Sure. He takes Bow Wow off. 50 beat Bow Wow.
Bow Wow shouldn't be on the list.
Bow Wow was number 5 on my list, by the way.
But
listen, but here's what I want people in the internet world to know that y'all can relate to.
And then there's a person that we can't name anymore. But if we really want to be honest about it, you can't make that list without having Diddy on it. Previously,
nigga, Diddy is one of the biggest rap stars of all time.
Nigga,
that nigga, you know, he. By the way, him and Dre should get credit for being big rap stars, and niggas knew they didn't write their shit. How do you do that?
Who got a better catalog, Puff or Dre?
I want Dre's.
Without the taint and
Dre,
smut.
Still. I would think about it and take Dre, but I'm saying it's obvious.
I went back and listened to that Chronic versus No Way Out. I'm not the biggest Diddy fan. No Way Out smoking that.
Okay, so I'm thinking like a businessman right now. I believe that Eminem has the most valuable catalog in hip hop history, and Dre has that. So to me, I think Kanye has the most valuable catalog, period. But in hip hop, and only hip hop with albums as a rapper, Eminem has the biggest catalog, and he has the most valuable catalog by far.
That No Way Out a classic, yo. I ain't even gonna lie. Whatever Jada and Big wrote, oh God.
But another thing is that you gotta remember, Puff run was relatively short.
What? No, and I'm Tupac's my favorite artist of all time.
94, from 94 to 2000.
When did P. Diddy and the Bad Boy Family come out? 04?
Now listen, he had other records spot, but I'm talking about the run, Rashad, where everything you put out works. Everything you touch is gold. When he's putting out Total, Carl Tom, like all that, he had a 6-year run. And the reason why I know it ended in 2000 because that's when he dropped that whack ass Public Enemy number one. And it was like, what are you doing? And remember, that was right around the Shine trials.
His run on top might not have been as long,
but he had a longer. Yeah.
Okay, Cash Money has the longest run in hip hop history.
No, Def Jam does.
No, well, I'm talking about for like subsidiary label.
Yeah.
But Def Jam was a subsidiary that was purchased. Baby and Slim just didn't sell.
True.
So, and by the way, if I could own one, I mean, you got to remember, y'all talking about
what's going on at Def Jam right now.
We name it right now, Rashad. Listen, what we do. Everything we name it, 98, 97, that's all Def Jam. That's all Def Jam. 92, Hard Knock Life, DMX, those albums, Jaro.
So that's when he said, okay, you signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga. So Def Jam is signed to Universal, and then they had those subsidiary labels under like Murder Inc. and Rockefeller and Rough Rock. So it was a multi-tiered situation.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
so I don't think people look at Def Jam. I don't think people look at Def Jam the same way they look at Cash Money. I think we
talking about the most valuable owned in hip hop is by Cash Money by far, because obviously Def Jam sold in like 95, but they sold in 95 and got bigger and bigger and bigger. So you got to give it, even though they had corporate money, but Cash Money got corporate money. Cash Money is their own entity in the Universal system also, just like Def Jam is. When they put out their market share, bro, they give Cash Money their market share and Def Jam their market share. So Cash Money is Def Jam. They just, Baby and Slim own it, and that deal is so fucking great, bro. Like, remember, Leo Cohen said his Def Jam deal, when they first did it, they got, 16 points on a whole deal? Nigga, Cash Money got 96, 95.
One of the greatest deals of all time in business.
And by the way, the only reason why it's still there is because they can't change it.
Why can't they change it?
Nigga, because they signed the deal. That's the deal.
Yeah, they did the deal in perpetuity. One of the most important words in business.
Cash Money has a buy-sell, Rashad. So it's important to say that. If Republic or Universal wants to part ways with Cash Money, like say if they like, we don't want y'all no more, Baby and Slim can go to Warner and say, give us $300 million. We bringing Cash Money over here. That's why Todd Moskowitz took Alamo from Interscope to Columbia, because he had a buy sell. So that's why they can't change Cash Money deal. You want to change it? Well, shit, I'd rather you just buy me out, or I'll buy you out. Just leave it at the same. Just leave it. Y'all the only ones that got it. Leave it. Fuck it. That's why.
We did a list on Earn Your Leisure a few years ago, and it was very controversial. I'm trying to pull it up, but I can't find it. Of the top, I think it was the top 10
hip hop CEOs of all time, and it was, I remember the top three at least. It was Baby at number one, Jay-Z at number two, Diddy at number three, and I forget after that.
You gotta put D&Y in there.
Oh yeah, they was in there for sure.
I gotta pull this list up.
Sure. But why are there no more hip hop led? Like when I look at all those, with the exception of TDE, there isn't those imprints there in music anymore. Why is that?
Well, I think TDE's advantage is they're LA based. You know, so they right around the corner from the building that's working their shit. So, you know, and LA based niggas know that you in their city. So you gotta remember, like, Top is the nigga, because Top and Punch, they the only niggas I know that when I was at Interscope, Joey IE, they didn't fuck with Joey IE because he shitted on them at Warner. Like he shitted on with J-Rock. So, you know, you shit on them, think them niggas ain't going nowhere. Yeah. That gets hot. Joey ends up at Interscope. Top is like, he doesn't show up in no means. He didn't even want him in. Think about that. You're head of black music and being told you can't even come to the meeting.
That's tough.
Talking about your biggest artist. That's why TDE is the shit, because nobody fucks with Punch and nobody fucks with Top. And the 2T niggas and all the other niggas they got around them, street niggas, you don't want to fuck with none of them niggas either. So it goes back to the Cash Money deal. Yeah, you know, leave them niggas alone. Let's get the next one. We get the next nigga.
I found it. So this is from 2013. This is from 2023. EYL's top 10 hip hop record. EYL's top 10 hip hop record label CEOs in history, and this is from 2023. And Baby reposted this. Caused a lot of controversy. He actually commented that he thought that
it was right. I remember that. He was like, y'all got it together because he was number one, right?
Yeah, but he also said that he felt that Yo Gotti should be the number two.
Maybe gonna piss some niggas off.
Number 10, Suge Knight. Number 10, Suge Knight. Number 9, Jermaine Dupri. Number 8, Dame Dash. Number 7, L.A. Reid. Number 6, Master P. Number 5, Russell Simmons. Number 4, Dr. Dre. Number 3, Jay-Z. Number 2, Diddy. Number 1, Baby. And for people who say, well, why is Dame Dash number 8 and why is Jay-Z? Because Jay-Z was still a CEO after the breakup.
After the fact, yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about it. You come from you come from the music business, executive and all that. Like, how do you have more insight than I do?
Well, I think Dame is the best CEO of all time. And the reason why I think Dame is the best CEO of all time, because he got to the top, but to me, he laid down the blueprint. See, what people don't understand is I'm from the South, right? So when Cash Money came out, I was pushing wheelchairs in the airport. I've been listening to Cash Money since How You Love That Volume 1, the big time. So I go back with them. So I remember in the South, you either was listening to No Limit or Cash Money. And they was getting one Cash Money past No Limit. It was it. But to me, everything that all of us are, and I feel like that's what made me relate to you, Rashad, and Troy so well, because we were all raised by Rockefeller, right? We all come from the school of being raised by Rockefeller. And that was a thought process. Nobody, nigga, look out for your crew. By the way, everything Rock Nation became is what we saw Dame say for the first time on backstage when he got on the bus, like, yo, y'all got to take care. We never saw that as black men. We was used to niggas killing each other in movies. That wasn't even a movie. That was the first time we saw niggas saying, this is how y'all gonna win. This is how you're gonna survive. And when you watched him curse out Kevin Liles, my nigga, I like Rashad, I was 17, 18. My nigga, I remember watching that saying, I want to be getting my hair cut, running my business, my son playing while I'm like, it was like, I wanted to be that. Baby and Slim to me are number 2 because they didn't fight anybody. They didn't ruffle feathers, right? Dame's biggest fault was that he wasn't just beating the ass.
What's the wars they fought?
No. I'm talking about I'm talking about who did Baby and Slim fight?
You talking about the corporate wars?
He mean in the building. In the building.
Oh, okay. Got you.
I'm talking about in the building. I'm like Dame was like, nigga, y'all can't tell me y'all didn't feel something when you see Dame walking Def Jam off. It's like, who the fuck push him out? Y'all can't tell me y'all didn't feel that. Like, that
led to
the destruction and his downfall.
And by the way, and the only reason why I give it to him was because as he was blowing up his own life, he made everybody look bad and made L.A. Reid say, you know what? Let me get Jay-Z. let me get him, because Dame was running circles around niggas and making niggas like little niggas. So they helped each other. They always helped each other. So, but I think Dame was the best because all Jay and them are doing is what Dame set the table for. They just quiet about it. Jay-Z is famous for saying less is more. It's less niggas at the table is more for us. He's famous for, showing you how he does. It's like, I need everybody at the table eating. All my niggas. So it's one of them things where you start kind of understanding who's who. And by the way, thank God that I watched it play out, so I know who I need to be to win, right? But, you still respect your daddy for being the first nigga outside saying, who won it? What me? And Dame was that for me and my generation, and that's why I got to give it to him. I'm willing to bet money that Baby looked up to Dame. I'm willing to bet money that Baby and Slim looked up to Dame and said, I like what Shawty right there doing. He was the one. He just did it for the wrong fucking crew. And he did it for the wrong people. He did it for the wrong people. If he did it for the right people, and another thing about Dame is if you follow him like I know y'all do, that nigga still has the same friends. He's still giving niggas props from Harlem. That was the niggas in the 80s. To me, he's respectable. He's what a man's supposed to be, but he overplayed his hand and he lost. But that's the lesson that we get to learn as 3 black men, how not to overplay our hand and lose. But we still got to give the nigga that went and fucking nuclear and showed us how to do it. We still got to give that nigga We ever seen the movie Training Day? Not Training Day, Independence Day. Remember when that dad killed himself and drove himself to it's like, he was a drunk. He was a piece of shit. He was all that. But he saved all of our asses, and we owe him a little bit of respect for that. That's all I say.
Ian, who do you have as some of your top CEOs in hip hop history?
Baby and Slim, because they negotiated the best deal in music history, in my opinion.
That lawyer did. And by the way, shout out to them, because that same lawyer is still with them.
Vernon Brown?
Vernon Brown. Vernon is still with them, and that's why they win. If you pay attention to all the niggas winning, they got the same
team around.
You start
going
switching.
back to the investment last 10 to 20 years, same team.
And that's why they win. And by the way, for everybody black watching that's trying to figure it out right now, they probably, I'm willing to bet, had hard times, but they understood they were better together, and we got to learn that as a community.
Jermaine Dupri, I think, is underrated. I'm not doing any order. I think Baby and Slim are number 1 for sure. Jay, of course, has to be given credit for what he's done and developed in the Rock Nation. Who else was on? Diddy, his mid-tier.
Dre, Russell Simmons.
Dre, and then Russell for sure. Dre don't get it. He's quiet too.
Suge Knight.
Him and Diddy.
He should be higher than me.
He should be, but going back to the lessons of mismanagement.
But if you pay attention, where is Dre on the list? Rashad, what was he on the list?
He was number 4.
Probably 4.
So pay attention. Dame is less than Jay on the list, and Suge is less than Dre on the list, because those niggas stayed quiet and played the game, and Suge and Dame was out here acting like hood niggas. That's like,
and also not being violent and acting like mob bosses.
That's my point. It was acting like mob. That's what I'm getting to. Like, we know the code to how to win now. Hey, be yourself, but don't act like you do, because they will get your ass.
And all them other CEOs, they not chump either. Even in corporate, there's some CEOs but they're quiet about how they move. I think when you two are loud and obnoxious, you're going to put too much spotlight on the business, and people are going to conspire to take your business down. So, but at one point, Bill was probably the best CEO.
You got to know what comes with that, and that's what Jim is doing. That's why we're talking about him. That's why I respect him. He understands what he's doing. Hey, Rashad, everybody that got to the top eventually had to say, I deserve to be here. No nigga we look up to was put at the top. You're the one. Every nigga had to take it. You got to learn that.
There's no industry plant that got pushed to number 1.
Listen, if they did, they didn't walk out this bitch rich.
Okay.
You got your check, and once they stopped paying you, it was
over with.
That the money was gone. It wasn't like you got to be an owner. To me, you got to be an owner that has built something to sell it. Be on that list. Yeah.
Okay, that was a great hip hop debate. That was a great.
I love what y'all doing with this, man. I just love watching y'all. I'm like, this is what it's about, man. We need more of this, more fellowship, more talking. I appreciate y'all for inviting me.
Because that's the real blueprint.
Before you leave, let's get one more. Can we show this B Simone clip, please? I want to get your convo on that.
Let's go.
It's my finances. Like the budgeting, you see how I am nitpicking every little thing. I've never been like that. We were in Bloomingdale's yesterday. I'm like, we have to go to H&M.
Yeah.
Like I notice it in me now, just nitpicking. And it's not even, I just don't have it like to spend the liquid. Yeah. I'm used to having liquid. I'm used to seeing a certain amount in my account. But
shout out to B Simone, friend of the show.
I've been on B Simone since B Simone used to come to my crib in the city and be like Ray, I do hair, I'm a comedian, I rap. I just need to figure out how to make, like, so to see her make it and win meant a lot. I'll just say this. What's happening with B Simone right now, if you're laughing at it, you're showing me you're a poor person, right? B Simone is over leverage, right? It's what happens to everybody. It's like you can have, but if you place your money somewhere to avoid taxes and certain things, you might have to leave it. So to me, it feels like she's over leveraged and she's just being honest with her audience. But to me, I'll just say this. I hate watching men enjoy her being humble because we all know women. We've been with women. You know, what woman you know really is sharp with money like that? Like, that's not how they are. So if she's just being
no, let's not do that.
Ray.
No, hear me out. Because I get what y'all saying. What I'm speaking about is in relationships, right? Like, Ian, if you on the relationships that I've been in, it's usually a woman is like, he handled that. I don't want to do with that shit. Like, just give me my money. That's what I mean. Like I don't see no women out here telling their men, this is how we gonna budget the house. At least the men that I know is what I'm saying. She's just being a woman, bro. Like, you know, women like things. Like, nobody taught me how to balance a motherfucking checkbook. I be having them issues too, where I spent $100,000 last month when I was supposed to spend 50. It happens, but it's just she's over leveraged. She ain't broke. She just over leveraged right now. Like, I'm waiting for some shit to come out. That's how I look at it.
There's a couple great lessons here. I've said this before.
I love you.
I'll say it again. You can give your way into poverty. The conversation that we're not able to have enough is helping others at scale only leads to more entitlement from those who are around you. I personally have cut checks to people for 40 and 50 grand, and the next week they would tell my friends, Ty, he should have cut the check faster. Right hand of God. How about I cut nothing ever again in life? But then also too, I go back to the friendship conversation that she had when her and a girl broke up on the podcast, and the plagiarism of the book, and going back to the Dame and Suge thing is really just about approach and how you do things. I don't. And Rashad brought this up on Market Mondays. You can shoot her my information. I'll put her in Stock Club. I'll teach her how to invest in the market. So she
and to her defense, Rashad, I'll say this. Every time I see, because we own a condo in the same building, so I run into her often. Every time I see her, she'd be like, Ray, you don't invite me. I'm trying to, like, she don't walk around like, I got it. She's like, help. What am I? She's
a good person. I think one or two things might have happened. Either she might be clip farming. She might have did this knowing that she's going to go viral.
Or that she needs to go viral to get out of the hole she's in.
Boom. That's
the pain in her face and the tears, those were not fake.
Yeah. And you know, can I tell y'all something? If 7 girls go to eat dinner, right, and the waitress comes, how many checks is she bringing?
Usually 7.
7. If 7 girls go eat dinner and 1 man is at the table, how many checks they bringing?
The guy.
Okay, so guess what that tells us? That tells me that women have an unwritten fucking rule that you get you, I get me. Right? So for me, it's like you asking her to do what a man would do and look out for a friend. Women, like, nigga, listen, bro, anytime I eat with my niggas, hey, I got the check. You get, like, it's like we fighting over it, right? Women are like, give me mine. I want what's mine. So I think what's really happening is we're seeing women be bosses and act like women. How do the women normally act? That's all it is.
And the other part of it, all this excessive spending on lifestyle stuff is a mistake.
That's true too. That's a whole nother conversation.
I ask it all the time. Like, I'm well-to-do. I'll see some of the spending some people do and be like, where are you getting the money from?
How?
How is it possible for you to have this lifestyle and put it on the gram. And we got to talk about this too with influencers as well. Even getting the money, you still need to hide it. There are a lot of influencers being killed right now and attacked.
We seeing motherfuckers get killed with 7,000 subscribers on YouTube because they trying to get to 10. What is going on?
It's insane, bro. It's insane.
Ray, my brother, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Before you leave, I know you got a special Investfest lineup situation.
I'm gonna bring the biggest songwriter in the world, and we're gonna talk about creating, and we're gonna have Slim
from 112.
No, we're gonna swim on that. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a good time. By the way, I say this every chance, and it's important. Shout out to y'all. I've been on this is my third Investfest. Y'all always fuck with me. Y'all solid. I just appreciate y'all. Anytime y'all need, I'm here. I'm a phone call away. Hit me.
Man, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, my brother. All right, bro. Okay.
Shout out to Ray, yo.
Shout out to Ray. I'm looking for. His set. I'm gonna try to watch that myself, man. I like hearing him. Let's talk about the music industry.
I do too.
Slim from 112. He got some.
And even if you're not in the music business, it's an important talk to attend because a lot of the things that are done in music and entertainment ends up permeating mainstream business.
Yeah. Man, that was a great hip hop debate. We finally had the hip hop debate because we've been kind of teasing this for a while, but we never had the full-fledged hip hop debate, and I'm glad that we was able to have it. So yeah, I'm glad we was able to have that. Yeah. Can we play this clip?
That's what I tell young people. Home is for 7 hours of sleep, and that's it. The amount of time you spend at home is inversely correlated to your success professionally and romantically. You need to be out of the house.
You know, Professor Galloway, Scott Galloway.
That you know, that resonated with me so much because I'm building a home now, so maybe that'll change. But I was just telling somebody the other day, like I'm having a problem with my AC. My AC is not working in my bedroom right now, and it's annoying. But especially in the summer, I don't need an alarm clock. When the sun is up,
that's when you're getting up. Yeah,
I'm up, and I don't come back home. Like I use my parents' house as like a pit stop. Midday, I'll go there. I'll get something to eat, whatever. But I don't go back to my place until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Job not finished, job not done. I like that.
So I never understood how people, like, I was never a person that was playing video games. I was never a person, no disrespect to anybody, I'm just saying I'm never a person that was just like smoking and just sitting at the couch and watching, my favorite reality show and knowing like all of the latest Netflix documentaries that's out and watching TV all day. Like, that's not a recipe for success.
Yeah, that's being a consumer.
Yeah.
Opposed to being a creator of equity. So, and I used to have a different stance on this too. But I think it's important to be, once again, it's not one or the other, it's both. So the time dedicated for the craft is the time dedicated for the craft. But people have to be outside to see you, for you to network, for you to have balance in your life, to then say, hey, I want to do business with you. A lot of people be like, even why you do blackout? A, I love it. It's great therapy. But for two, I get more conversations about blackout than I do Market Mondays. It's interesting the problems people are facing, and how many messages I even got about, okay, you guys going to talk about the Big Simone? Probably got 100 messages about that. That tells me they're facing the same challenge that she is currently. How do you dig yourself out of a hole? So yeah, you have to make time to network, because if not, you're going to end up getting beat by people who are actively networking. And the two greatest examples of this is Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Do you have, if Elon will make time to go do press with Trump when they were buddies while building rockets and autonomous vehicles, that blueprint alone is enough. Bezos would do it with Lauren. They'll be on a yacht in Monaco and he'll come back to Miami and tell you about blue sky. You have to be able to do both. You can't be an introvert.
Yeah.
Because you turn to an incel that hate women.
I'm all for like going outside, figuring it out. Like, man.
Okay, you playing day to day? Where you going? You got like a structure?
I plan. No, I've always. Okay, this is important.
It's a great gym.
All you hustlers out there, and the word hustler gets thrown around very loosely these days. First, a hustler. I don't look at a hustler as a drug dealer. I look at his drug dealer as a drug dealer, right? Because a hustler means that you're crafty, you're shifty, you're gonna do whatever, you're gonna be able to pivot. You can do a variety of different things. A drug dealer means that you sell drugs. So that's the first thing, because I know sometimes that has that negative connotation of like, yo, you a hustler. Like it's like related to selling drugs. I when I say hustler, I'm not talking about somebody that's actually selling
active.
Drugs. That's one thing. The second thing is that I feel like a hustler to me is somebody that really, really like me. Like I really love this shit. Like it's different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I respect.
You have love for the game.
I love for the game, bro. At a level that's not normal. Like I'm willing to sacrifice things that most people won't. You know what I mean? And that's why I like people like AB. Shout out to him, because it's like I could text him at 12 o'clock and not feel no way. 12 o'clock a.m.
Yeah. And it's not an issue.
It's not an issue. It's no like, yo, my work hours is done. If he don't see it, he don't see it. But it's like he might text me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't feel no way about it, right? Like that shit is just like it's an adrenaline rush to chase your dreams. And this whole thing is like a puzzle. You just
be able to achieve them too.
Yeah, you got to put pieces together. You got to network. You got to, meet people. Things go wrong. You got to figure out. You got to think. You got to solve them.
Actively learn.
Everybody's not in it for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I realized. A lot of people don't want to do the work.
I was thinking about this yesterday. It's like mob mentality for entrepreneurs. Like when couple like, yo, I get up at 4, I'm at the gym at 5, I shoot again at 8, take a break, then I'm back at 12. That's what it takes. I never thought I would have to do all of this to build fanfare to then manage capital. But thank God that I did it. Because a lot of times when people are jealous, they're only jealous of the people who did the thing that they should be doing. That's why when a critique come like, well, you guys have artists there. And it's like, well, artists are at Robinhood. Shout out to Robinhood. Doing a great job. Like they're at BlackRock conferences and Vanguard conferences too. Like, but that tells me, okay, make it more entertaining and more informative. That's why I'll take 3 months to work on a presentation. But I agree, too many people, because of social media, want the easy part of entrepreneurship and not the hard part that comes with this. And also, it's a good lesson too in working with the people who want to see you win. A lot of times, entitlement comes from people who may not want to see you win, and you have to use your discernment to be able to tell. Like even this camera, shout out to the studio here, shout out to Parker. I was asking somebody who I was paying to shoot for me 3 years ago, yo, shoot me in 6K. Well, why would you need 6K? You just do a stock show. Fired. That's the part of Trump I love. You're fired. Okay, cool. That's why your shit in shambles right now. You have to look forward to the future. 1080p wasn't getting it, my boy. Now y'all say I'm an AI. Sponsored by OpenAI. Maybe there'll be an Investfest.
You never know. But yeah, to answer your question, you always got to know, you should know what you're doing tomorrow, today.
For sure.
If you're waking up just winging it.
Mistake.
Like I live by my calendar. And I look at my calendar all the time. And I'm definitely looking at my calendar the night before to know what I'm doing the next day. So like, okay, I got a 9 o'clock. I got to drop my son off at 9 o'clock. I got to work out at 10 o'clock. I got to do market Mondays. I got to do this. I got to stop by the house. I got to get this. You got to have your day mapped out. And then stuff happens in between there. But if you don't have some level of framework that you're working off of, it's a recipe for disaster.
Obama was outside that whole after DNC. Like I hate it. You have to do both. There's no way around. Shout out to all my traders. You have to do both. You can't just sit in and be like, okay, here's order flow. No. All the great hedge fund managers, they make active amounts of time for media and networking. There's no way around it.
Yeah,
somewhere around it.
Yeah, you got, and it's like
and especially if you lit too, you gotta be outside.
There's an African proverb. I don't know the exact saying, but it's like it's who do lions hunt? Gazelles or
yeah.
So it's like okay, the gazelle and the lion, right? And that whole king of the jungle shit is a joke because lions don't live in the jungle; they live in the safari. But that's
a euphemism. But go ahead, you right though.
So they like when they have a mission. The gazelle's mission is to run from the lion. The lion's mission is to run to the gazelle, right?
Oh yeah.
They both have a mission, but the common denominator is that when the sun hits up, they get to running. Because if they don't get to running, if the gazelle doesn't run, he's going to get eaten. If the lion doesn't run, he's going to starve.
Yeah.
So both of them have a job to do, and they don't need an alarm clock. Nature is their alarm clock. When the sun hits, they up. 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, they up and they at it.
You think that's easier to do in New York? Because like I hit a little garbage man when I be like in Midtown. I'm like, they are up at it early. Some places have that vibrant energy. Some cities may be slower, but I do think it's a good practice to be out and about and like actively network.
You know, it's also something to do with the weather.
Next week, we're going to talk about the engineering of the weather too.
South cloud seeding?
Yes.
Because so for me, it works even better in the summertime. Because also that daylight savings nonsense plays a part in it as well. But in the summertime, I was just having this conversation. Like when it's hot outside, when the sun is up, like my alarm clock works even better. Like there's a thing called like seasonal depression, no matter whether you believe in it or not, but that's when it gets a little bit harder. It's like in the winter time and it's like dark at like
that's in the Midwest. Oh, they're gonna get dark at 4:30.
Yeah, when the sun is up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it's already 80 degrees, and it's like it's just so.
And the sundress season.
I say that to say, for me, I lived in a few warm climates before. I lived in Florida and I lived in Hawaii, and it's better in those warmer climates for me. Like if I was in Miami year round, like I would be even more efficient, I think.
Yep, that's why I go skedaddle right to Mexico real quick. 5:45, be up and at them. Hey,
because that weather, the sun, the endorphins,
has an impact on your life.
Like it has an impact on your life. It makes you, at least for me, it makes me want to just get up and like, all right, like that when it's 20 degrees outside, you might just want to just stay under the covers, like it's too cold.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Gravitate to the climates that feed your soul the most.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
All right.
Prayers for B. Simone, but yeah, be happy to put you in stock club and teach you how to invest.
And salute to B. Simone. Like I said, she's a good person, but I think that she might have been clip farming. So that's something to think about. But even if she wasn't clip farming, I think that the lessons should be put money away. I always say you got to force yourself to save money because it's going to rain at some point in time. One thing that we know in life is that it's going to rain. That's the one thing. Like all you got to do is study nature. If you study all life answers are provided for you
in nature.
In nature. If you have never listened to anything I've ever said in life, you should listen to that. Like I said, you study what an earthquake is, you study a volcano, you study a hurricane, you study like nature, and there's lessons in everything in nature. You study animals. There's literally nature itself is a book.
Once every 5 years, you're gonna have some kind of financial disaster
to be read. So rain is gonna rain at some point in time. Or if it doesn't rain, it's gonna be a drought. At some point in time, you're gonna have some.
You have to be prepared.
You're gonna have some hardship. There's no part of the world that doesn't have some level of climate hardship every now and then. Right? So take that lesson. Force yourself to save money. Be disciplined.
Force yourself to invest.
Live below your means. And then, like I said, sometimes you got to pivot. We might not be doing Bloomingdale's. We might just be doing, okay, where's the merch at? We might not buy no clothes. We might be getting free promo. We might be, start our own brand and start promote. Like, you got to be able to pivot. But I think the one thing that she might be doing, if I have any level of, advice for her for whatever it's worth, is that I think that sometimes she does a bad job at messaging. Because like even when she said like y'all don't want a 9-to-5 guy, I know what she meant, but that's going to be triggering to a lot of millions of people that work 9-to-5. So for her to say like, look, I can't shop in Bloomingdale's no more, I know what she meant, but that could be triggering to millions of people that's just trying to put food on their table. And it's like, that's not a struggle to me. A struggle to me is to say like, am I going to be able to eat tonight or not? Right? Like you saying that you could shop at H&M, that's a blessing for people that don't have clothes at all.
Yeah. Everything doesn't have to be said online either. I get it. She's recording. Maybe she needed to record and have the clip go viral, but you don't have to be insensitive to other people's, and especially entertainment, that money is fickle anyway. Be careful. You can't lose your fan base.
No, it's not worth it. But shout out to B. Simone, man. She'll be back. One thing about B. Simone, she's a hustler. We talking about hustlers. She's a hustler.
She gonna find it. Baby boy.
She gonna figure it out. She gonna figure it out. I have confidence in her. So salute to B. Simone, man. All right.
Yeah.
What else can we say?
Tune in next week. If you want to get rich from the market, go to ianinvest.com, join Red Panda Stock Club. Call every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central, followed up by this amazing show, Blackout, at 9 p.m. Get your tickets to Investfest. And put money away for a rainy day.
Please force yourself.
Yep.
Force yourself to
10 to 20% if you're unsure. If you're more seasoned, 50 to 60%. Put it away. You have to.
$1 saved is $1 earned.
Facts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. Don't forget, Ghana sweepstakes runs till Monday, so don't wait. Get your tickets, and we'll see you tomorrow for Earn Your Leisure episode at 6:00 with the legend himself, Kurt Franklin, his business partner Norm. It's a good one. It's a good one.
That'd be real good.
All right, guys. Oh, last thing I'll say. I will be dropping the China vlog on YouTube this week. Shout out to Ty. We just put finally touches on that. So hopefully like Friday, maybe Saturday, but a lot of people have been asking for long form content from China. And this could potentially be some new type of content that we'll be producing. But we travel so much that I think that it's good to just, show that. Like show different experiences. The gentleman that I did the Africa clip with, that's viral. That's 1.5 million. But we did a 15-minute conversation. I actually interviewed him for 15 minutes. So might just put that whole thing out there because he has some good insight on his situation that's been going on in China. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys, man. Love is love. Stay safe out there. Support Black business.